Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? One of the hottest topics right now on the internet is Jesse Williams' speech at the BET Awards. He received the Humanitarian Awards for his participation in the Black Lives Matter. Now, although his speech aroused a lot of people's emotions and he got standing ovations from the crowd who was there, he gave thanks to his parents, who he's a white mother and a black father, and gave praise to his wife and all the other people who were involved in the Black Lives Matter and other civil rights organizations. Lots of rounds of applause. People on Facebook applause. And then, of course, today, all the people who felt that he was being racist. And that conversation is now raging on about if a white person stood up and said that. And then there's a comparison if Donald Trump says things, how people, they clap for that, but they boo this. So there's going to be this debate. There are some statistics that support both sides of either argument. But that's not why I'm here right now. Why I'm here right now is because there was an important part of what he said that will probably go, that no one is talking about. I've looked at all the different media outlets on Facebook and all this sort of thing, but I haven't heard anybody talk about this, and it's a sad thing because this is the meat of if you took into your life this aspect, this one thing, that it will begin to change the process. And the sad part about it is that most people will miss it because this part actually takes work. It actually takes work. What is that work? What is that thing? What did he say? The most important part of his speech, in my opinion, that he said was this. He said that the afterlife, we've all been sold on the fact that the afterlife is coming, and that the afterlife is a hustle, and that we want it now. Now, most people, they clapped and they clamored, and everybody got up and praised, and it was loud, and people were like, yes to that. But they were yes more to the fact that he said, we want it now. What is the we want it now, the afterlife? What does the afterlife promise? The afterlife, for centuries, man has believed that the afterlife promises them a mansion in heaven. It promises them peace. It promises them nirvana. It promises, 72 virgins. It promises that you will be with God and that all the greatness of the universe will be at your disposal, that there'll be no more pain, no more war, no more sickness, no more hunger, that all these things will go away because you will be in heaven. But he said we want it now. And people say that they want it now, but the first thing that they have to understand that in order to have that now, you have to live in the now. You see, the reason why he says the afterlife is a hustle is because it's always coming. And if you're waiting for something to always be coming, then you will never get it. You will never receive it. You see, if something is always in the future, then you will never have it in the present. You will always be waiting for it. And if you're always waiting for something, it will always be away from you. So in order to have it, you got to have it now. So how do we get it now? How do we have it now in our lives? How do we have heaven on earth? You see, you've been sold that bill of goods of that the afterlife is coming, but in the scriptures that everyone reads, whether you're a Buddhist or Hindi or Muslim, Jew, Christian, no matter what you claim to be, you've heard it. You know it. You see, it's that thing that when Brahma said that if you want to hide the divinity of man, that you hide it deep inside him because he will refuse to look there. He will look on the mountain, he will go into the sea, he will dig deep into the ground, but he will never look inside himself. It is when Yeshua said that the kingdom of heaven is inside you, and you got to bring that which is inside you to the outside in order for you to see it, that if you look around you, that is spread out all around you, but you're blind. And that the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the leaders, the priests, have hidden this knowledge, this information from you. If you read anything, the Buddha talked about how you got to look inside yourself and that you're surrounded by it, that you have to enlighten and open your mind and come to the peace and rid yourself of living based on the ego in order to see nirvana. You see, heaven is here. It's all around you. It doesn't have to be legislated to you. It can't be legislated to you. It can't come to you because you have a love interest in your life. Your children can't bring it to you. Money can't bring it to you. You see, heaven is a state of mind. It's a state of being. And if you can't reach that state of being, if you can't reach that state of mind, then you will never see heaven. You know, in a lot of traditions, if you don't reach that state in this existence, you come back to try this all over again until you reach that state of existence. And the idea of alchemy, alchemy is not the literal transmutation of lead to gold, but it is the transmutation of your mental being from lead to gold, being of the purest metal, being of the purest mind, being clear, not living by the ego, not living by money and wealth, not trying to serve two masters, but to serve only one. And that is the divine spark that's inside you. In order to have heaven on earth, you have to be able to find heaven and peace inside here. I was remarking to a friend of mine how you can always be waiting and talking about how you're expecting and you're waiting and it's coming. But until you start getting your mind, your mental, your conscious and your subconscious into the same framework as your spirit, so that you know that the present and that the kingdom of God is all around you, that heaven is all around you, that when you lift the stone up, that it is there. You split a piece of wood, it is there. When you come to that understanding, then you'll understand what he was talking about and how we move forward. You see, we have all this hate and discontentment. We have all this greed because we live by the ego. But we live by the ego because we're trying to have something in the past. We're trying to stay stuck on the past, or we're trying to have something in the future. In order for us to come to a true understanding, we have to live in the present and realize that everything that you have and need is within you, and you have it in the present. So the hereafter is a hustle. Prior to the teachings of Ra, there was no waiting for the hereafter. There weren't the idea of we're gonna go to heaven after we die, because it was the teachings of Ra that created the Book of the Dead with Horus, that started the idea of going to where God is in the hereafter. Prior to that, man understood that you take yourself, your spiritual self, from lead to gold, purity of mind, purity of spirit, and that heaven is all around you. So y'all have a great day. Your greatness is non-negotiable, and so is mine.